Hello, my friends. I want to thank you for being here with me. I want you to realize this is my first time ever YouTube video. I am 75 and I am very ignorant to all social media. So please be kind to me. What I want to do is to share with you how I ended up divorcing God. Therefore, I'm going to talk a little bit about my childhood. I don't want you to feel sorry for me, for everything that happened to me for a reason, and it has made me the person I am today. My father, my mother, and one of my sisters, and all of my stepfathers were alcoholics. I was not an abused child, but I was a neglected child. I never remember having enough food to eat. I was always hungry. This was in the late 50s, and there was no such thing as food stamps. I would go to the refrigerator over and over and open it, and there would be no food, but there would be grapefruit juice. This made me so angry. It tasted disgusting. But my anger is what helped me from becoming an alcoholic. When I was 15 years old, my second stepfather had a surgery for his cancer. He had face cancer, mainly on his nose. Therefore, while he was recovering, there was no food. There was no income. And then finally, there was no food. My mother had what was left is called mush. And she would make mush in the morning, and it was in an oatmeal form, and it made me want to throw up. I could not eat it. Then when I came home, she would take the leftover mush and she would make it and fry it, and that was good. That was good stuff. Then finally, all food, all money, everything ran out. And we went about 10 days or so without any food. And as a teenager, a young teenager, I was very hungry. On Christmas Eve, I heard a knock on the back door, and it was some co-workers of my stepfather's. And I was an embarrassed teenager, so I ran to my room. They came in and they brought sack after sack after sack full of groceries. After they left, I came out and I looked at all the food in the sack, and I was so grateful that I fell on my knees and I told God that I would always help the hungry. Then another incident happened in my teen years that also changed me. My second stepfather and my mother drank very heavily, and they were both very drunk, and they went out in the car to go to the liquor store. Well, something happened, and they came back in, and my mother fell down, and my stepfather started kicking her. When he did, I just got furious. Now, I only weighed about 105 pounds, but I went and I attacked him to stop him from hitting my mother. And he had had several cancer surgeries on his nose since, and he had a false nose. And back then, it was not very well made. He had some kind of glue, he would glue it on. Well, during our altercation, I hit my stepfather's nose, and it went rolling. And this is a time you can laugh if you want to. But, and I knew that if my stepfather got a hold of me, he would try to kill me. So I ran across the street and spent the night at one of my friends' houses. The next day, I came back and to come home. And usually they were so drunk, they wouldn't remember what happened. So whatever happened that evening wasn't important because they would always forget. Well, this time, my stepfather did not forget. And when I tried to come home, he had a gun to keep me from it coming inside the house. And what hurt me more than anything was my mother stood beside him. And I was not allowed to get any clothes. I wasn't allowed to do anything. And so at that time, I became homeless. I was only homeless for a few days, and my aunt and uncle allowed me to come live with them. But I want you to know, feeling that you have no home that you can go to is such a horrible feeling. It's such a loss. You're lost. You have nowhere to go. And so when during my college degree, I was very privileged to work with the homeless. And they have a very close place in my heart. During my high school years, I met my high school sweetheart. And until I met him, I had never felt what I called love. And so I fell head over heels. I fell deeply, deeply in love with him. And he was my everything. Well, we spent 3 years talking on the phone every day for hours, spending as much time as we could with each other. And then we got married. His family took me in as one of their relatives, as a family member. His mom, his dad, his sister, his 2 grandmothers, and his 1 grandfather, they were all so very good to me. I felt wanted for the first time in my life. And all this time, from the time I was a very small child, I always believed in God. I always knew he was there, and I knew he would take care of me. And he would take care of the problems that I would have. Well, my husband and I had a lot of problems, but I was not worried. I was sure that God would take care of all the problems and make him the man I wanted him to be. Well, that didn't happen. One day, after having 2 sons, one day he came up to me and he no longer wanted to be with me. So we decided to get a divorce. And when I went into the divorce court, I was broken physically, mentally, and emotionally. I not only got a divorce on paper, but I divorced God. I no longer wanted anything to do with God. He had failed me. He was not my father any longer. After that, for the next 3 years, if anyone talked to me about God, I would walk off from them. Every church I saw, I turned my head. I wanted nothing to do with anything that was involved with God. My oldest son cried every night for his father for 1 year. For every tear my child shed, I vowed to never allow God back into my life. I want you all to know that I appreciate you being here with me. And I pray that you will all have peace, health, and happiness. I will see you next time. Thank you.